Howdy. I have a super quick update today. I have just done a little bit of work on the Ink plugin based on some user feedback. So I wanted to show that. Last week, or maybe a few days ago, I can't remember when it was, I re-implemented how the attachment folder was calculated for any sections you create in the Ink plugin. And I immediately got some feedback from a user. Let's bring that up. So I copied and pasted his feedback from another issue into this issue. But Bartrand on GitHub, can I request a third option, which is to use a path relative to the note? Now that was something I was already thinking about. People might want to use the default Obsidian thing, which you can set to relative or absolute. Or they might want to do something different in the Ink plugin, and then the third, and that I set to the Vault root initially. And then the third option, which I didn't implement immediately, was to do it relative, because it just meant I needed to implement that relative aspect in my plugin rather than relying on Obsidian's version. So I was like, I'll do that a bit later, but Bartrand immediately was like, this would be really helpful, and I knew it would be helpful, and I actually kind of wanted it as well. So I thought, before I move on, while it's still fresh in my mind, I should update this. So thank you, Bartrand. Let's have a look what I've done. So this is just an empty vault. If I go into settings and go to the Ink plugin, this is what you would have seen last time. So custom file organization is unchecked at the moment. So if I check that, actually, let me first reset this so that we see the default settings. So I'll turn drawing back on, and then I'll check that, and you'll see the default settings are, let's see if I can make it a little bit bigger. Where should Ink files be saved when created in a note? And there are three options now. So Obsidian attachment folder. So that's the same folder that if you go into files and links, you can see, you can set that default location for attachments in the file path there. You can see I was testing the folder monkey. But if I go back, so that's one option, or you can set that to, the Vault root, which is pretty self-explanatory, or next to the note, which is what Bartrand was requesting. I'm not going to show that working. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's not implemented yet. It is implemented, but it's not published yet because I've just started implementing tests for things, and I'm still writing the test case for this to make sure that in the future I don't break it. So I'm not going to release it for another day or so because I want to go to sleep, basically. But you'll notice there's also another setting here. Where should Ink files be saved when created independently? So at the moment, this isn't possible. You have to create your Ink file from within a note, but it is already implemented that you can, there's a button here that I've implemented that says new hand drawn note, and you can create that without being in a note. You can create a drawing. I'm going to disable that before I publish this particular version, just because that makes it a little bit confusing because you can't do it with writing yet. And it's possible with writing, but I'm not turning it on anyway because the performance of writing isn't good enough to warrant creating them on their own. So I'm not turning that on yet, and so as a result, I'm not going to turn drawing on because it just makes it a little bit confusing. But that's what that other setting is there that I've created already in anticipation of that in the future. So this bit will disappear, but essentially that is, if you create a drawing or writing without being in a markdown note, it obviously can't put it next to the note because there is no note that you're in. So there's two options for that: Obsidian attachment folder or Vault root. The other two settings still work the same. So within whatever you choose here, you can also have subfolders. So let's just do this once. So I'm going to say next to the note, because that's what Bartrand asked about. I'll delete this here. I'll create a folder and say my folder. I'll create a note inside that. Let's just leave it as untitled. And I'll create a handwriting section. And you'll notice it created my attachment folder next to the note, not in the Vault root. So that's all that's implemented here, and just kind of making these settings much nicer to read and much easier to understand without all the text that was there before. So that's it. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully not just Bartrand likes this. Hopefully whoever you are, you're watching this and you like it as well. Let me know in the comments and chuck a like, and let me know if you have any other requests. Obviously it worked out well for Bartrand today, so keep those requests coming. If they align with kind of where I'm thinking about the roadmap going, then I can prioritize those as well. Cheers. See ya.